What's up? Good morning. Welcome to Trading Live with Bubba. And, well, I don't know. It's still pretty quiet. If you go back to the triple witching expiration from Friday, I've never seen volume that light on a triple witching expiration. So, again, at the end of the day, we're looking for opportunities. Our open trades are doing well. And we'll see if we can find some opportunity now to add on and make some trades. In the meantime, again, it's kind of quiet, so we're not really going to be jumping here unless we find some really good opportunities. I think that's always the thing you have to remember is, where is the opportunity? Do you have the opportunity, and is it in your favor? I mean, certainly we're very concerned and very, very real on where our stuff lies and where we get a chance to actually make some money. Certainly we don't want to gamble or risk. I mean, we're always taking risk, but we don't want to take unnecessary risk, I think is the right word. So you can see the indexes are extremely slow once again. I would think that this is more a little bit of topping. Thanks, Bruce. A little bit of topping action. Again, I'm not saying this is the top. I'm just saying that it looks that way with gold exploding. Saying inflation is higher. I think that you've got some things to look at. And again, we're not getting the activity here, which is another issue. Bitcoin really isn't enough volume for us to want to get involved in, but certainly that would be looked at one that we'd be potentially looking at. But overall, again, you can kind of see the stagnation in all these charts right here. And these are short term, so they're not moving. So if they're not moving in the short term, they're certainly not moving in the long term either, and I think that's something that you just have to be prepared for. It's easy to say no if you can. Certainly, we don't have to force any trades. If we've got open trades that are winners right now, you could cash them out right now in Meta, Coin, and Crowdbase and Crowd. So certainly, those are profitable trades right now. You could close those. We had a profitable Thursday day trade. Now, I don't know if we're going to get any day trades today. I'm certainly not going to force them. So we'll look. In the meantime, where are we here? We'll wait the minute here to see anything here, and then we'll go look at some other charts to see. But again, we're not getting enough volume. We need volume, for example, here in the NASDAQ, here in the Dow, here in the Russell, here in the S&P, here in crude, we're just not getting it, here in gold. So again, am I really in a hurry? No, I'm not. I'm really not in a hurry because again, I'm not getting the same advantage. This is, in fact, we're doing a webinar this morning in about an hour on the one trade, which is the one trade you and we all work on every time we're together here. Okay. And again, it's a great trade, works, but again, you got to be patient enough to wait for it and let it qualify for you. So in the meantime, I don't think we're gonna get anything here. You've got some questionable potential trades in the S&P as a buy and the NASDAQ as a buy. But again, I'm not interested in reaching out when the lack of activity. One of the things about trading is the ability to have a number of trades, knowing that if you have a couple of bad ones, you'll have opportunity to get back. Versus here, I don't see that opportunity. So I'm gonna wait. And we'll look at some other charts while we're waiting. We'll look at some potential options trades. Certainly, Apple would be one to look at to sell call spreads. In fact, let me pull up my sheet here, my screen, and look at that. Apple, Alpha Papa Lima. And I'm going to sell these for Friday, this Friday coming. The 257.50, 260. If you can get a dollar, you're not going to get it right now, but if you can get a dollar, I would certainly be willing to look at that. Again, I like to get 40% on my money. Amazon would actually be, you could look to sell some potential put spreads in Amazon. Let's go further and look through the board and then come back. Coin, nothing. We're already in. We're short coin. We're short call spreads. Crowd, we're short call spreads. Ether. It could be an opportunity to sell some put spreads here. Let's take a look at that. And let's see here. Sell the Sell the 31.30. It's a little thin. I'd like to get 30 cents for that, but again, you can work that if you want. I don't see any reason to rush in. Again, I'm not in a hurry to rush into it. So, but it is one I would look at. Meta, which we're in as well, is profitable for us right now. Nothing to add on to it. Google, we never did Google, but it is working out the way it should. INOQ is interesting. These quantum stocks have been going absolutely bananas. Certainly, it may be one to look at. And again, I'm not saying, my people in the chat room asked me this morning, are we ready to do it? And I said, you know what, I'm going to wait for a little bit, but let me just see what it looks out a little farther here. The 76.77, if you can get 40 cents, I would take that. I would be more inclined, just to full disclosure, if I really wanted to trade INOQ, I would really want to probably sell a deep in the money spread, like the 65.74 for a $6 credit. Okay, 630 credit. It's the same as buying the 74 put for 270. The put itself is trading for 370 on the board. So that would be more of my inclination to want to make that trade. Okay. Let's just go back to here and see if anything's going on that we're missing while I'm yapping here. No, not really. Not a lot happening in here. That certainly, I mean, crude could get there, could spike. Okay. We'll see. But certainly not an overwhelming amount of activity right now. So I'm certainly not dying to jump in here. I think that, again, patience is important in this business. Okay. So we'll see. I think we're going to wait on crude, but let's just watch in case you get one quick buyer that comes in. And no. Okay. No problem. All right. And then, of course, IWM. Certainly, this is one to look at. It's spiking up today. Let's see what it looks like now. That one I would consider selling for today. Again, I do a lot of the zero DTEs. Let's see what it looks like. Let's see. Let's see. 247, 240. It's too thin for me to really want to get involved with it, so I'm going to let that go. MP, Michael Papa, one to look at, but again, not quite enough. Again, there's not enough action, so I'm really being much more cautious. Microsoft, we could have taken the other day. We did not, but it certainly is working correctly. MSTR, not really worth looking at. NNE would be one to look at if we can get enough credit for it. This would fit in the same as the INOQ, where if I could, I'd really rather short it and sell a deep in the money call spread. But let's look at a regular call spread first, and these are for Friday. Again, not enough for me to take the risk. I'd rather, if I were going to make the trade, I would rather sell, let's say, the 35.45, $10 wide spread. I get an $8.10 credit, and it's really the same as the put. So there's really no value there. So we'll pass that. Nugget, again, this is definitely a sale, but I'm tired of getting in front of this. So I'm going to let it go, but it's certainly one that would be worth looking at. NVIDIA, this is one that we missed. We didn't miss. We weren't here. Yesterday would have been certainly an opportunity after the announcement came out. Nothing to do today. Palantir, certainly one to look at. We looked at it the other day. We didn't do anything. You could look at it again today. Now let's just go back to the board before I look at that and make sure I'm not missing any opportunity. No, not really. There's really very little going on. So let's go back to Palantir and see what it looks like. If there's anything worth our time. Again, it's really so slow, so it's not like I'm overly anxious to go and do anything here. 82.50, 85 for $1.05. I could do that. In fact, I'm going to do that. Let me write it down. Palantir. Okay, and QBTS, another one exploding straight up. So again, I'm not really interested in getting in front of these, although I would certainly be looking for a potential short position. The Qs, certainly worth looking at for today. And there's not going to be enough juice for me to go ahead and get involved, so I'm going to let it pass. SMCI, no. SPY would be the same as the Q, but there's not enough juice in there. Square, nothing. Tesla, certainly an opportunity, but I would wait on it now. We missed the initial. So again, I'm being more conservative because the markets are telling me that I need to be more conservative. Okay, that's really the deal. When there's not enough trades to make, you have to be more cautious and more careful, knowing that that's the case, that there is not much to really trade. And again, it's not this trade that I'm worried about. It's the trade, the opportunity. If I make a bad trade or a losing trade, it's the opportunity for me to get back out and get back in. And that's where, I always see, I look at is the volume of trades that I can potentially make. Okay. And I don't see that there's a lot of opportunities for me to want to make more trades. Certainly the Bitcoin would have been something that would have worked. But again, we didn't take it. We didn't talk about it. We looked at it and we mentioned it, but we didn't do anything with it. And again, obviously you can see the slowness of the market right now. So you're not getting any of the speed or the panic or the chase. So I think that's something that, again, you always have to take into consideration. Again, remember, we're dealing in a market that has very little volume. So it makes it very hard to want to get overly involved. You're getting a little bit of a run in gold. Maybe we'll get something in gold here. Again, we need the volume to support the move. Okay. If the volume doesn't come in with it, then it doesn't matter, because then you're not as much of a favorite for it to retrace on either side, whether you're buying or you're selling. But you can kind of see how slow all this action really is. And it's really pretty slow. So again, we're not going to be overly aggressive trying to force action here. I think you just have to learn to be a little bit patient. Certainly the NASDAQ is getting to a point, but it's so narrow, but it's getting out, based on the current numbers, about 3 standard deviations of the mean. It'd be one to look at. But again, I'm not interested. I'm not excited to start making too many trades in here. I think you're seeing a lot of the outside stuff, like the Rigetti's, okay, another quantum computing company or whatever, okay, going straight up. I mean, this is very, very consistent with a market making a potential temporary top. Okay, when you start to see these kind of moves in a lot of things, I mean, this is very similar. I mean, we haven't been this overbought since 2008. Okay, and then 2001 and then 1987. Now, I'm not predicting that we're going to get the same result, but certainly there's going to need to be a relief sell-off here, because if we just keep going up and the volume doesn't participate, so it becomes a bigger issue. Okay, as we continue to look at it. Okay, and I think that you just have to be aware of the markets around you. I mean, you're getting some wild movement in Core Weaver and in Circle, but yet they're relatively stagnant right now. So overall, let's see if there's anything shows up in here. I mean, again, we're not going to force any action. Just doesn't make sense to start forcing. I think you just have to, be patient enough to wait. And unfortunately, right now, I don't think we'll get anything, but we'll watch. We've got a few minutes to go. So we'll look it out and check it out and be ready. But I would expect some selling to come in here at some point. Okay. And not necessarily today, but I would say by the next time, by the next week, I expect one pretty big down day. Again, don't try to position yourself for it, just be prepared for it. But we're kind of flatlining in a lot of things here, which don't do us a lot of good. Okay. Again, we did put on a trade in Palantir. We're working something in Apple. Our open trades are profitable at the moment. You could certainly close them if you want and take the money. Either way is fine. In the meantime, from a day trading standpoint, it's kind of hard to get excited right now with the lack of activity. And I think that's the biggest thing that we all have to learn is sometimes it doesn't pay to trade. Now I've been trading from a floor trader for 35 years and overall trading for 47 years. This is the slowest September I've ever seen. Okay. The slowest September I've ever seen. Normally there's a little bit more activity in September, but again, I can't force the markets to have action. I can only participate if they do. Okay. And when you learn that lesson, you will find yourself a lot happier and making a lot less losing trades. Okay. And staying in and not having to chase them down. I think that's something that's important as well, to learn that you don't want to put yourself in those positions. So, again, we'll see if anything shows up here, but I would tend to doubt it. You could get something in gold. You could get something in crude, but again, you can see how slowly they're moving up and how little the ranges are inter-bar. And again, we want wider swinging bars. That is where we get the biggest edge and the biggest advantage as a traders, and you get some wide swinging ranges here. And unfortunately, we're not getting them right now. So, well, I will see you all on Thursday. Remember, every day I do a market 120, gives you an update of what I think into the markets in the morning. If I do it about 6 a.m. Eastern. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you back here on Thursday.
You know how the financial world goes. Here comes the buzzkill. Please make sure to take some time to read this boring disclaimer. We will owe you one.